Hey guys, just before we get into this episode of Grassroots Racer, I'd like to thank yet another one of our partners, the 𝘎𝘳𝘴𝘴𝘳𝘴 Group. 𝘎𝘳𝘴𝘴𝘴 Group is a Melbourne-based business specialising in excavation, drainage, drain cleaning, machine rentals, plant hire, heavy haulage and general contracting. If you need to check them out, they have an Instagram page, a Facebook page, or you can find them at 𝘎𝘳𝘴𝘴𝘳𝘢𝑟.com.au. And if you need a quote, there's a section on their website for it. Please enjoy this episode of Grassroots Racer. See you guys. Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Grassroots Racer. This week I speak to a young man who's gone from 4 wheels to jet skis, which I can't wait to hear more about, and he's even got out on 2 wheels for just a bit of fun sometimes. So as long as he's got an engine and he's going fast, he's in there giving it a go. Welcome Bailey Cunningham from 8-1 Racing Team. So thanks for joining me tonight.
Too easy, man. It's good to be on, and thanks for having me on.
We're somewhere with our passion for racing. So how did you get into motorsports and how old were you when you got involved?
So originally I grew up racing go-karts from the age of 7. Started racing at 7, but was driving from the age of 5. So that's when it pretty much started for me. It was around 5 years old.
Yeah. When did you really get into jet skis? Because it looks super fun and really cool.
Yeah, so the jet skis, I grew up in a country town, so I didn't even know what a jet ski was. But my parents raced years before I was born, and so when we moved up to Queensland and all that, they bought a couple of jet skis and pretty much started from there. And my passion for racing just transitioned. I wanted to see if there was a sort of racing and all that, and tracked that down, and yeah, pretty much went from there once I turned 16.
That's really cool. What's the format of jet ski racing? Is there different categories and events you can compete in like, is it like time trials even, or do you race people out on the course? So
it's pretty well set. The easy way to explain it is it's motocross and water basically. So we start on a gate similar to motocross. We have a rubber band instead of the actual drop gate, and then we go around a course that's been set up by the officials and all that. So depending on where you go is depending on how big the course is. And yeah, so there's usually in my class, we have 16 to 18 guys on the start line, for the big ones. But yeah, so it's similar to motocross, and there's categories from juniors to all the way up to pretty much pros. So you got the mix between stand-ups, and then we also have sit-down versions. So yeah, there's a whole bunch of different categories and different skis you can ride.
Yeah, that's really cool. When you say it's like motocross, so when you're out there, do you actually hit any waves and they feel like you're doing a jump when you're on a motocross bike?
Yeah. So pretty much our track changes pretty much every second due to being on the water. So any wind change or any bit of movement will disturb the water and turn it into basically jumps and all that, as well as we do surf racing. So that's more the motocross style, whereas the other one's pretty well similar to supercross. So it's pretty well similar.
Yeah, so I'm guessing if the water is like flat and there's not many waves, you're going to go a bit quicker. How fast do the jet skis go, and does it take a lot of strength and skill to control them?
Yeah, so it depends on the category you race in. So a junior class, some of their skis can do 52 mile an hour. But then the class I race, which is pro runabout GP, a lot of those skis are over 90 mile an hour, 95 mile an hour.
Jeez, that's awesome. So we're going to fast forward a couple of years in 2017. Well, I guess you really started having a bit of success, and then that's continued up until 2020. But tell us about the championships you won, and what was the Pro-Am series that you mentioned?
So 2017, I went over and won the Pro-Am stock class over in New Zealand at their national championships. I've won that. I've won a whole bunch of different state titles in different categories. I've been I've come second in Australia for Pro GP Runabout, which is our premier class, as well as I've been over to Thailand for the World Cup, and the best I finished there is 8th in the world.
Yeah, so you went to Thailand. So is it a different community, would you say, in the sense of racing, how they race? So you'd have different driving styles over here and different driving styles over there. Is there much of a difference?
There's little differences. So Thailand, for the World Cup, we have everyone around the world. It's our premier race, basically. So we have Europeans, Thais, Americans, you name it, they're all there. And coming from Australia, it's more of a conservative style racing. So not really dive bombs or like really aggressive passing. But World Cup especially, if there's a little gap, someone will put a ski there and go for it no matter what.
What would be the ultimate goal for you? Like, where do you think you want to be professionally in jet skis?
So the ultimate goal for me is I want to try and get the number 1 in Pro GP in Australia. And then we go from there. I want to... next one is top 5 at World Cup, and then the World Series as well.
So with the World Series, I'm guessing you go all over the world. How many different countries have you been to so far, do you reckon? So far, I've only been to New Zealand, China, and Thailand for racing. I've been to America, but that was for a work thing, but it still had something to do with jet skis at the time. So I've only really been to 3 different countries for racing. But yeah, all of them that have all world-class riders there, so it's always a lot of fun. Do they get like TV coverage and stuff for that?
So in Australia and a lot of racing in different countries, not really. Australia hasn't had it, not to my knowledge, for a long time. So the World Cup gets it for that one. They get it for that, as well as a couple of series in America have it broadcast in American TVs.
So would you say the sport has a bigger following overseas, and is it starting to grow in Australia a bit more and get more people involved?
So overseas, the sport is definitely a lot bigger due to just bigger countries and more racing to go to. Australia, it's slowly getting back to what it used to be. But yeah, so it's growing, but it's more not about the racing. It's more about the social and family aspect of it now these days.
Are there many kids there that have their whole family there supporting them? And you started at 16, so what class would have you started in?
A lot of families coming. The young kids are starting to race. So the youngest you can race from is 13 for juniors. So 13 to 15 is juniors, and a lot of them their dads either raced or have rode for a while. So they're just coming into the sport, and is bringing the full family aspect and just a really chilled vibe with it these days. So 16. I was racing pretty much Pro-Am stock class for sit-downs.
So I'm guessing people enter the sport more as juniors and then they continue with it. But to anyone out there who's interested in starting jet skis, where should they start?
So to start, there's classes for pretty much any type of jet ski. There's a club in Queensland, New South Wales, Victoria, WA, and I think South Australia. So if you reach out to one of the local clubs, they're always more than happy to help you get involved and try and see you improve your skill. There's always training days or people go out and ride together. So it's always there's always some way you can go ride with someone that races and always learn and improve your skill.
I also saw on your social media that you don't mind getting out there on your dirt bike as well. Do you do any other racing, like, on the bike, or is it just for fun? Like, is it serious or?
Nah, so the pit bike stuff's purely for fun, man. I've done a couple of pit bike races and all that locally, but yeah, it's more fun and a bit of fitness.
Yeah. Do you like riding a motorbike, or did you like four-wheel racing more?
I'd take four wheels over two any day of the week. I just feel more comfortable in it. So four wheels and brakes, I love.
Yeah. When I was looking on your social media, I saw a picture of you when you were little, when you karting, and you had the older model engine. I think they were called a 𝘠𝘬𝘵 or something like that.
Yep. Yeah.
And it's funny, like, how they would have been your main engine when you were racing. And I remember when I first started, they would just be coming out of date. So yeah, it was different how times have changed, especially in four-wheel racing.
When I grew up, it was 𝘠𝘬𝘵s and 𝑗's and Rotax as well. Whereas now, because I'm trying to get back into the sport, it's a whole different world for me now with the KAs and all that. So it's awesome to see how it's evolved, and it's cool to start trying to get back into it.
So you're getting back into karting, and would you hop in something like a KA3 senior, for an example?
Yeah. So that's what I'm transitioning into now, is KA3 senior. So it's been a while since I've raced. My last race was when I was 13. I'm now going on to 23, so 10 years. And that was in J-Max doing the Rotax Pro Tour. So it's cool to get back into it and see how I can stack up against all the new fast kids.
I'm guessing having to compete around Australia and even like China and Thailand, New Zealand and stuff like that, get a bit expensive like any other form of motorsport. So do you have any sponsors that you'd like to thank, and are you looking for some?
I'm always looking for sponsors. Anyone that helps out, it helps big time. Even like the littlest things can help anyone progress in their sport. Doesn't matter what sport it is. But yeah, I've always got a couple which help me out. So Sunny Coast Power Sport, Jet Tribe, Pro Rider Magazine, Zoomed Images, X Brand Goggles, Water Blast, and there's 239 Race Boat and a couple others that there's just a couple. So it's always good having as much help and as much as they can.
Have you ever heard of speedboat racing? Because one of our first episodes were actually these couple, and they did speedboat racing, and I found it really interesting, and I thought it might be something similar to jet ski racing. So have you done any jet boat racing?
I haven't done any jet boat racing. I do enjoy watching it though. It's always cool to watch how they drive and their driving technique and all that, and those things are nuts. So it is definitely cool watching them.
Yeah, I'm sure people would love to keep following your journey. So what's your social media platforms that they can find you on?
So Instagram, there's my personal one, which is Bailey _Cunningham 81, or the race team that I'm with is 81 Racing, and that one's on Instagram and Facebook.
So thanks for chatting to me tonight, Bailey. It's been great finding out about the world of jet skis, whether you like it on 2 wheels, 4 wheels, or even out in the water. So remember, guys, drive fast and take chances.
Definitely, man. I like it. That's the best way to live.
All right, thanks, Bailey.
That's all good, man. Have a good one.